It sounds strange to even think about being afraid to be happy. But for us overachievers or people who are really ambitious, it's not uncommon. Being afraid that you'll get everything that you want and you won't want any more. And you won't have, your desires will go away, you won't want to set goals, you'll become content, and maybe you'll end up sitting on the couch and watching TV and eating potato chips. Though if you're an ambitious person, that's not likely to happen. And actually I used to be afraid of that. And it's a strange paradox that when you're not happy or when you're ungrateful, you don't get what you want. And I did this for a long time. I withheld happiness from myself, thinking that it would help me get what I wanted, and the opposite was true. When I started being grateful for what I have, when I started putting my happiness before anything else, when I started making happiness a priority rather than achieving goals and fulfilling desires, it became so much easier to achieve goals and fulfill desires. I was having a discussion with my father about this. He's a very religious person and I'm not. And he said, "Why are you seeking so much? You're doing all these things, you have all these goals, you have all these desires that you're fulfilling. If you're so happy," because I told him I was the happiest I'd ever been. He said, "Why are you seeking?" And the only answer I could give him was, why does electricity conduct? Potential. The electricity doesn't have happiness or unhappiness. It doesn't feel grateful or ungrateful. It has none of these properties. But what makes conduction even possible, electricity doesn't conduct because it wants to or because it desires to. It automatically seeks potential. And the happier I am, the more grateful I am, the more energy I have to invest. And that energy propels me toward my potential. And it's a very natural thing. And at the same time, I don't get disappointed as much when I don't fulfill a goal. The goal is almost arbitrary. It's moving in the direction of fulfilling a desire. And that doesn't necessarily mean that I can't enjoy that or be fulfilled or grateful and happy along the way. That is the joy and the fulfillment, is moving in that direction and moving toward fulfilling that potential. If I don't end up with the actual solid, tangible goal in my hand, the prize or the trophy, it's kind of irrelevant. I don't want to say it's 100% irrelevant. It kind of depends on what you're going after. But it's the fulfillment of that potential that makes me even happier and fulfills me more, so that I continue to feel even more grateful, and this continues to perpetuate itself. That opposed to what I used to do, which was withhold happiness from myself. Then I would feel ungrateful, and then I would feel bitter, and then I'd get cynical. And I went through a whole period of my life like this for a few years. It did absolutely no good for me whatsoever. And I meet people sometimes and I can tell they're kind of stuck in that phase. And unfortunately, I've known people who lived in that phase for probably the greater part of their life. And it's just not worth it. Even if you have to fake and pretend to be happy and fulfilled, that's better than being ungrateful, unhappy, and unfulfilled, which, like I said, automatically will just lead you to bitterness, and you will find yourself in a hole that is very difficult to get out of. And that's a lot of times when we get stuck. And I've been in that hole several times. And the one thing that I knew to do was to ask for help. And that made all the difference. Because sometimes we do need help from outside of ourselves. We do need help from other people. And there's no shame whatsoever in asking for that help. Check out our website, nlp-gym.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook. We're always adding new trainings. We're bringing in some exciting trainers coming up. Sid Jacobson, Doug O'Brien, and then later Mark Andreas. And check out our online trainings. We have some of those. We also have some free ones.